am I going to get for Hollowbrook? I said, Mr. President, I first have to get an appraisal done before I can tell you how much I'm going to get. Okay? So my answer to his question was, I don't know how much I'm going to get for it. All right? But I need an appraisal first. All right?
Point of order, Mr. President.
Well, these are, Mr.
But Mayor, I cannot have you go on speaking prospectively. What we're dealing with is the 2010 budget, not a 2011 budget. The notion of selling Hollowbrook is not in the 2010 budget, so let us not confuse our waste of public with that notion.
But Mr. Councilman, Mr. Murphy was making statements that related to the sale of Hollowbrook, and that's why I didn't have the answers to those questions.
The agenda item is on the 2010 budget, not 2011.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
Actually, there has been a great deal of discussion about the future budget, and I think it's very appropriate that Mr. Wall should be able to have some input, because it's already been discussed by members of this council.
Councilman Cox is wrong. Look at your item, your agenda item. This is a public, we opened a public forum for public discussion on the 2010 budget. That's what we're on, and I would like for us to stay online with that agenda.
Councilman, respectfully, I will agree with your comments. If anyone has any further concerns or questions for me with regards to the FY 2011 budget, I will be here to be able to talk to anyone who would like to talk to me after this meeting. And that way, I will not upset the rest of the council. My purpose is not that. And the FY 10 budget it's just about over. But I think we need to all learn from this and not point fingers at each other. It's a work in progress of September the 23rd, and it should not be being approved May the 3rd. I'll close with that.
Anyone in the public would like to address the council on 2010 budget that we have in front of us? Mr. Green.
Two words, Charles B. 979, third time word, two words, vision and discipline. I have an article at home from the Times from 2004 where they quote me as saying that the state's in trouble, they don't have any money, we have to be creative and try to figure out how to fund the county. 2004. When this new administration came in, the business administrator made a statement that he just gave council what they wanted, and it was up to you to figure out what to do. It really basically wasn't their job. It's the mayor's job to tell you what he needs to run the township, and you decide whether that's enough, whether you want to approve that or not. For 3 years now, well, first of all, the budget is supposedly, if I understand it correctly, the budget is a plan. This is not a plan. You're paying as you go. The thing of it is, at any point in time, and you can correct the council president, you could have taken one of those four budgets and struck that budget and forced the administration to live within that budget. There are rules and regulations within DCA to allow you to do emergency resolutions if there are any costs outside of that budget, if it exceeds that budget. The only way you're going to get any discipline out of this administration and any future administrations is for you to strike the budget, is for you to say you're not going to spend more than 5 cents per year or 2.5 cents per year, and make the administration live within that budget. And if they don't live within that budget, then they have to come to you, and they have to come to the public and justify why they're spending money. It's easy now for everybody up there in the media to say, we didn't want to fire anybody. We didn't lay off anybody. It's easy to say that because there are no restraints. I mean, I asked 2-3 years ago that they give you a ledger each month to tell you how much money they were spending, so that you wouldn't be in a position in the 12th hour of the day.
It's called a bill list.
and you can't do anything about it. I would simply say that, again, with all respect, going into 2011, when you get the first budget and the second budget, strike that budget and require them to work within it. Thank you.
Just on Mr. Green's comment, I do have to take some exception to what he said, only in the fact that the money that we appropriated for this fiscal 2010 budget was predicated on the 2009 budget number. So it was whatever the increase was for that in that particular portion. It wasn't on this particular budget. Is that right, Mr. Jack?
Yeah.
So we did live with those particular numbers when we moved forward. Now, somewhere along the line, there have been over expenditures. Granted, I mean, there was some items that I caught when we were going through that particular budget item for 3.5 hours, line item by line item, where they over-expended more money than we would have allowed under the 2009 budget, and they so much admitted to that fact. So it's not that we didn't try to adhere to that 2009 budget, but you are correct in some of those things that you said. So, but I just wanted to make that point clear. And it was made public by myself, and when we talked about the numbers that we were acting on the numbers of 2009 and not the new budget that was proposed. So that was the distinction. So we did try to keep the numbers in check from the 2009 budget.
May I respond to that, please?
Yes, you may, sir.
Okay. And Mr. Simon, I have no question. I come to all the meetings. I know that what you've done is you and council have been over backwards to make sure that you do the people's work. Understand that. But still, it wasn't a budget because it wasn't a plan. The fact is, from what I understood from coming to the meeting, there was no restraint upon what the administration did. They just came back and told you again and again, we have more expenditures, and things like that. I simply say, and to you, Council President, is could at any time you have said, we are going to strike a budget with a 10-cent increase. Administration, you make it work. But you have done that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we could have.
Then
And you should
But
have.
understand one thing, is in the first part of the budget that we got in September, we had 22.5% increase.
I understand that. My question to you is not what you got, because Mr. Thompson said here, stated, and I think at the beginning of this administration, that he was going to give you yours. Basically, he said that. It's up to you to decide. The question of it is, like I said before, there was a point, or could have been a point at any time you could have said, and I'm talking now not only for this budget, for the next budget, that you strike a number, and you require the administration to live within that number. And if they can't live within that number without letting people go, then that's the mature adult decisions that somebody will have to make.
Thank you. Mr. Stewart.
Mr. President, George Stewart, 30 Gilmore Road. First comment about the budget being a plan. I do agree with that. Besides budgeting money, we all try to budget our time. And we leave in the morning and we try to go through our day based upon the plan that we have for our time. We don't go through the day and then come home and then write down what our budget was for the day that we just went through. So a budget is a plan, and it should be a guide to the operations of the township. Also, with regards to the overall budget, I've always been passionate about electronic or the IS budget, the IS line item of the budget. We are cutting IS by 35%. There's no salary and wages in that line item. It's just other expenses. This day and age, the township, companies, the world moves by IS. We are cutting the IS budget by 35%, at least the numbers that I took. I think we should be making an investment in IS, and I think that should ultimately show around the township. laptops on or computers, screens on the days. So many things we can use technology for. That's what gets us, that's what moves us ahead. I'm very